Attention gamers. Did you ever notice that professional League of Legends is almost an entirely different game than what we mouth-breathing peons down in this piss-pity-low-hell experience? For starters, ADCs actually have a place in the game where they position well and are protected late, whereas every time I play one of these champs it ends up being sponsored by an episode of 1000 Ways to Die. But pro play also features high skill cap methodical champions like Azir, who is really effective in the hands of someone getting over 10 farm per minute who knows when and how to nail their chicken cha-cha slides to secure picks for their team. Whereas every time one of these wild dressed up turkeys appear in one of my games, it's just some 2-bit bird soldier ventriloquist whose parents must have got paid an absurd amount of money to have and use him as a walking advertisement for Plan B. And when this happens, it's easy to diagnose them with Azir Syndrome, as common symptoms include being more focused on the feather heathers whose asses you have your hands inside of than where you yourself are, resulting in you winning every pageant crowned as the reigning miss, positioned, as well as the ones who think their shit don't stank because they can pull off a Shurima shuffle praising themselves in chat while unironically ending that same game 0-11. Yep, this is Azir Syndrome, and when you see one, you're going to want to dodge the flock out of that game. Okay, PSA, this is another RAV reveal. Everyone loves my hands for some weird reason, but it's to shamelessly self-promote my merch at ravsmerch.com like some no dignity stripper, and there's only 10 days left to on this drop before they are gone forever. Also, I am doing a giveaway with a few tele-YouTubies because we like buying you PCs in exchange for you subbing to our YouTube channel so that the algorithm gives us that sloppy gloppy 9000. It's a win-win. Check the link in the description to enter. Anyways, me and my home slizzle butt buddy Heisman were running the Frosted Cheerios bot lane because hitting the busty pirate cosplaying hoe of Tiltover with a large ice cube was honestly free money, and then Lissandra's passive of dead bitch ice sculptures scary movie 3ing their way toward enemies is good for any duo lane, so it was a recipe for dank kills and summoner spell spills, and that's the taste I wanted in my mouth today. Anyways, this shit was working so well you could practically hear Vanilla Ice in the background chanting "Ice Ice Baby" with a cold half chub in hand as the overgrown flamingo comes down to flaunt his vast expertise with his champ, which is great and all, but my support was demonstrating the circle of life. I was trying to decide between none of the options I had to follow up, and our jungler was trying to decide what animal he should be useless on, so we get no kills from the roam, but that doesn't stop the flap fapper from announcing his greatness, just pinning himself as that weird douche that bottles his farts then slow releases them leaning back on the couch only to yell in a forced deep chill voice what a dank scent he is brewing up to his mom, whose basement he is living in at the age of 36. But it's all good because there are few things more dangerous than a frosted covered eagle and her floating ice cap cosplaying friend from the blue avatar island popping out of a bush to say "surprise you a dead bitch." Well, in a bit, cause we have no more cooldowns, but I guess that deaf harpist was also blind because she started following the leader who is now in fountain, which allowed Fickle Franklin to decide that the dead bear carcass would look best on him when he steals our kill. So a few minutes go by and we are just continuing to chuck cold shit at the freebooter with a booty until we provoke quite the tantrum, to which my support teaches her about the golden eagle and I get right up in her face for a prompt jizz splinterer. But this video isn't about eagle sups and Dead Sea cups, it's about this swagged out stupid parrot who has decided that a visionless river, the perfect moist environment for dragonflies to dwell, is on the list of places to die in. So he calls in Jeeves but forgets the part where he sand surfs to safety, and thanks to a wall of simps delaying the kill, she who both spins and snowballs gets the gold. Not to fear, TP Tits is here ignoring the fact that Rift has been taken. He knows if he lands 1 out of 4 abilities he cleans up, but unfortunately that was a tall ask for this dogwater baptized flamingo, as we all get to observe that all birds of the silvery low Azir feather get fucked together. And this MF was probably like, "Rav, you are an ADC main, you know that playing a comp with so much CC is just cold," so I got right in her face and said, "Yes, now kiss your support," who then hit me with a thick piss before Tits McGee flashed, but Hi says, "Guess who has 2 sums and an ice cube shaped like a shiv? This guy," as he points to himself. Now I promise we will soon get into the deep coverage of bird brains over in mid lane, but it's very important to highlight how many angles we ravished Pretty Pistols' ass down here to develop the plot for what happens later. Like, even with the help of their grape-stained Beedrill sitting in our lane, we were just turning them into dead bitch popsicles left and right, you know, Donald Trumping frosty walls up everywhere and slaying EDM whores alike. But there was a storm a-brewing up north, and its name was the shitbag of Shurima, as he once again illustrates the dozens of hours he has spent in practice tool crushing that combo without ever practicing how to follow up afterwards. So the chick Zelda explored her sexual curiosities in college with sneaks out the back to slip a quick fart out before coming straight back to ask if this bird would be interested in flashing her like Zelda did. The experience leaves Flapnuts unsure of his feelings until he decides it's best to call it quits and head back home, to which I'm like, thank fuck, get this pigeon off the riff. But then the solo queue gods of tilt intervene, making him say, you know what would be better than resetting and catching my wave mid? Feeding this Shiv Shank redemption spin slut another wad of cash. That said, bot lane was continuing to go as you would expect any ADC versus non-ADC lane in Season 11 would, which allows us to take first tower to try and negate the self-necrophiliac Nikolai getting the quills banged out of him mid, and any song slut that wanted to stop us at this point was going to get iced served 9 ways to her techno tits. And you would think this would teach them a valuable lesson, that when you see a wild Articuno, pissing it off comes at a steep price that gets delivered in ice, and it'll leave you thinking twice about letting people back in peace for the sake of being nice. Then Manbearpig gets caught out in his own backyard because Waka Flocka Flame here has about as much noticeable presence as an earthworm at a Lady Gaga concert, and I guess mid-fight is a good time to check the bush for ticks before coming back and ordering 3 lazy soldiers to half-ass their jobs for a bit. But not to fear, Rav the levitating ice cap is here first, coming in to inform this knife sales lady that no one is enjoying the overly dramatic dizzy dancing before heading over to help Big Bird, who blows Boppy Butch cut away from me, which I guess was good because it kept him alive for a whole 5 additional seconds as he deems chasing the danger he just rage pushed away from him a good decision. Then we are just chillin', no pun intended, when that weaponized cricket tries to stir up some shit, so I say, Articuno, I choose you, and open with a long range ice cube, which is super effective, and then I head over to coordinate a classic flash and freeze combo. And a few minutes later we catch a whole half dozen of them dicks flaccid and in each other's hands at a choke point, so all the sums get dropped, and even Dr. Dogwater contributes with a play worthy of 10 seconds exempt from Rav roasts. So we send a few of them back to Fountain, and I deem it a good opportunity to show this feeding feather simp that the cat can be killed, so I chain a few cc's of cold shit into her, thinking I have her ass dilated and bent over, so this quote-unquote carry just has to hit her like once while I'm golden and will be golden, but that was too much to ask, so he just earns another participation award in that one. So then this piece of loser lint roams out of base, calls in a Clarence to slap that blade bitch a few times, and then most people, myself included, will classify my follow-up as a bit too freezy frisky, and I have to say it didn't pair well with him holding his Q and E for the day COVID gets eradicated, so naturally Reset Rhonda over here leaves with another couple G's in her pockets. But it would be toxic for me to imply any sort of mid-diff when this guy is such a mechanical goat at the shuffle that lands him in a shitty position every time, with the only feasible follow-up having to come from Fountain. This leaves me in a bit of a goose chase, but there's always time to remind their ADC that the big kids are playing now, and then I get a little fancy feet, or fancy claw you could say, before splattering some frozen jizz splinters on the dragonfly for the assist. Then I would think that 6 forms of CC and 2 hyper-fed mages would be enough to just stomp this shield slut, who is one measly starter MR item, but by some divine intervention and a desk pop of the golden girl button, she gets away just in time for fucking fed Francine, the main beneficiary of our team's Azir Syndrome, to put an end to this shitfest real quick. This brings us to the segment that I like to do in these syndrome vids from time to time, where the afflicted tries to set the speedrunning record fastest base spawn to dead bitch in history, and I do have to say the performance out of this pathetic pigeon was definitely up there in the record books. And at this point he just had a negligible regard for his surroundings. He wasn't even summoning simp soldiers in anymore because he knew deep down the damage was done, and the spinning monstrosity of rotating, rampaging, resetting 200 years on a champ that already has a great rack is just too much to overcome at this point. So a few of us die as a result of said nice rack with the resets, while I am just double fucking facepalming myself thinking about how amazing the early game went while spectating the startling absence of brain cells in these players that we are now losing to. We even had a successful family dinner of red meat, and you can see I'm like, let's GTFO hoes, but the peacock was dead set on finding that shuffle, even if it meant not finding that shuffle and dying like a dead lump on a log again. But he eventually did find that shuffle, which was just perfect for Cat getting her resets again and drum setting her keyboard to wipe us all out for the 12th time. So the true power of Azir Syndrome can be shown in the fact that we made their bot lane go fucking 0-21. Yet thanks to an outstanding performance and Fiora being the unsung hero of Suck in the One, we managed to lose this one as well. Bruh, that shuffle was so clean, man. Rav out.
In your crib with the blappy boy, talk to me slick and don't pop in your pappy. If happy talk back, then I'm taking your Grammy, and boy oh boy I'll make her happy. Let's go.